You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. Hello and welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official and very cold Comedy Club for Kids podcast for all ages from to and everything very chilly in between. I'm Tin and why is it so cold in here today? It shouldn't be cold. Even though it's now winter, I've made sure that everything in here at Comedy Club for Kids HQ is as cosy as it can be. I mean, I've wrapped all the stinky hippos in their own individual woolly sock. I've put all the farting animals under a duvet, which actually, now I think about it, it's a pretty terrible idea. And lifting that duvet up at some point is going to release the world's biggest fart cloud, which could be really terrifying. Awful. Well, terrible idea. Oh, well. At least I won't have to think about it till spring. Oh, spring will be warm. I'm wrapped up in 12 blankets. I'm wearing 16 woolly hats, 400 pairs of socks, 900 scarves, and 120,000 pairs of gloves. I'll be honest, I can't actually move much at all, so it's going to get very awkward if I need to have a wee. Everyone always says wrap up warm when it gets nippy outside, but no one ever warns you that once you're wrapped up warm, you can't really do anything because you're wearing so many clothes. Actually, that's not true. I could roll down a hill very well and then sit still. So maybe I could be used to block up a hole in a wall, or no, I think that's probably it. But I am very cosy. Or at least I was, until about 30 minutes ago, when it started getting very, very cold. Linda! Linda! Why is it so cold, Linda? And I've left all these hot cups of tea for you, Linda, but you don't seem to be drinking them, Linda. Well, maybe she doesn't like tea. Or maybe she doesn't exist. I just don't know. What? Why is there a freezing cold breeze blowing through here? That doesn't make any sense. I can't see any open doors or windows. Oh, hang on. I can't see any doors or windows. Or walls. Where has CC4KHQ gone? No wonder I'm freezing. I'm basically outside. Penguins? Well, none of this makes sense at all. I'm pretty sure Comedy Club for Kids HQ had walls and doors, and it wasn't just me sitting at a desk outside all along. I mean, they were definitely there before I put all my layers on. Hang on a second. What day is it today? You, Penguin, what day? Penguin's Day? Oh no, I must have got so cosy, I've basically been hibernating. I've probably been asleep for at least a week. That doesn't explain the penguins, though. I mean, what are you all doing here? Just waddling through? But this isn't a through route, it's the CC4KHQ building. You're meant to at least have a lanyard to get in. Oh, I don't know what's going on, but I do wish it was a little bit warmer. Oh, hang on, I know what might warm me up. Some of your jokes and reviews. Let me just get them from this pile of frozen papers. Right, first up, this joke in a review for the show from Hagaver Zero. Hey, Gever? Hagaver Zero? I don't know. Anyway, they're in the United States. And this is such an excellent joke. Thank you so much to Hagaver Zero for this. Also, very exciting that you're like the sort of Zero Hagaver. You're like the prequel one. You were there way before the others. It's very cool. Their joke, anyway, is this. Why do fish live in salt water? Because pepper water makes them sneeze. Amazing. That is so funny, and that has actually warmed me. Oh, that's warmed me right up. It is funny, isn't it, to think that there's salt water, but there is no pepper water. I mean, it'd be great if there was both those things, and then also dinner water, and you could put the other two waters on it to season it, and then just sort of drink a glass and be hydrated and full up at the same time. I need to write this down as something to invent. Thanks, Hagaver Zero, for the nice review and the brilliant joke, and also the excellent idea. Clever Fish from Australia also gave us a lovely review and said, "This podcast is good, and it makes me happy, and I listen to it every day." Well, thanks, Clever Fish. And obviously, you're such a clever fish, you've managed to type that up and post it on the internet. I mean, that's very clever for a fish. How did you do that? Did you use your fish fingers? Curious. And then what's more curious is they said, waiting for next season to listen, so please make it soon. Next season? Well, no, it's summer in Australia right now. Are you not allowed to listen to this podcast until it becomes autumn again? Or do you mean next seasoning? Have you got too much pepper water to drink and you keep sneezing your headphones out? I'm not really sure, but I do hope you work it out, because this season of Comedy Club Kids Radio Nonsense just kept on going and it hasn't really stopped. And then Ms. Mandiri in Singapore also reviewed the show and said, nice, thank. Well, Ms. Mandiri, you welk. That's warmed my heart, even if all the rest of me is still very cold. Thank you for that, all of you. And don't forget, if you'd like to review the show, you can do it in most places that podcasts lurk, like Spotify or Apple Podcast. But you can also just ask your squeaky Barbaras, I'm sorry, grown-ups, to help you email us at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. And that way you can send in any jokes, any ways you like to keep warm, or questions that you need answered on this here show. And don't forget, if you have any Christmas or winter questions, then please get them sent in by December the 14th so I can have them ready for our special Christmas guest. Please do check out our Comedy Club for Kids live shows at comedyclub4kids.co.uk, as we're doing a few Christmas-based ones, and you can grab our t-shirts and book at comedyclub4kids.store. Oh, I really wish we sold big jumpers too. I think I need to wear another 600 of them. Oh, I suppose I better find out where our walls and doors and windows have gone, but that does mean moving, and I'm wearing so many clothes I'm just not sure I can. Let me give it a try. Oh dear. Okay, while I work this out, you get listening to this week's most importantest bit.
For centuries, code remained a perplexing mystery.
I am delighted to say that on this week's Radio Nonsense podcast, I am joined by Tom Skelton, a.k.a. Tom Skelton, friend of the Pelicans, a.k.a. T. Skelsey, Esquire the Whoop-teenth, and as all our Lao-speaking listeners know you, Saikon Nan Lak Ayo Osong Ka Kong Kone. But of course, you are most famous for being the only human to be elected as the representative for Blue Wales at the 2011 Hydrovision Song Contest, for your chef work in charge of the only 12 Michelin star winning restaurant, the Parp and Armadillo, because of your star meal, The Forage, where diners have to go and find something for themselves to eat from the bins, and for your amazing ability to always know what someone did last Wednesday. Tom, it's a delight to have you on the show. How are you?
Yes, I am very well, Tiernan, and I hope that you enjoyed your visit to our restaurant last Wednesday. The Pelicans were delighted by your company.
Oh my god! I was going to say, how do you know? But I suppose, were you there? Was that how you know?
No, I just know what everyone did last Wednesday.
Of course you do. That is impressive, and yeah, I had a great time. I have to say, I really enjoyed ordering a meal and then having to go and find it for myself outside. That really brought it
it's
to
just
life.
We let your imagination guide you. You see, Tin, and we let your imagination guide you, as the Blue Whales say.
Yes. Well, it was great. I found half an egg mayonnaise sandwich. That was really good. Two old crisps and an acorn, and then a yogurt lid that somebody hadn't licked, which I find quite weird.
Oh yeah. Well, the mystery is I don't know how the chefs knew to put that on the menu. So well done for ordering it and then finding it.
It's incredible. So you don't know how they do it, but it is your creation. I mean, there's something very magical about how all that works, and I admire and respect it. And it's obviously why you've won 12 Michelin stars, which I understand you didn't even have space for on the sign.
No, we only had space for 10. So we decided to get a new sign, but then it looks like 2 out of 10 doesn't look very good. So we've decided to stick with 10 and then just write in brackets underneath. We've got another 2, by the way.
That's really nice, but I like it as a sort of. It's also quite a nice surprise. Wow, 10. Oh, and another 2. I think that adds a little bit extra to it, rather than just putting it all there in front of you. You're allowing other people to kind of realise that there's even more to it than they thought, which is. It's very exciting. It's very and everything. Your work with the whales sounds very. It was a beautiful entry that year, but I understand it's something that you've continued to do since 2011. Are you still working with them right now?
I am. The Pelicans they fly me out there above the Pacific Ocean, and then because of their pelican sight, they can spot whenever a whale is about to emerge, and then they'll drop me down out of their beak or their beak, their mouth, the big bit at the end that they swallow with.
It's a good. You know what? You've just made a, and obviously you're friends with them, so you might know better than me. But it's a good question, isn't it? Because it is a beak, but it is also a big mouth. Like pelicans have got a big old mouth.
Yeah,
They've
Bill,
also got a
maybe
beak.
Bill.
That's what you have at your restaurant, isn't it? At the end.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, is that right?
that's true. Yes, it is a big old bill. I apologise for that. We do have the 50% service charge, but
Yes.
yes, the pelicans drop me out of their bill or beak or mouth, and then directly onto one of the whales' backs, and then I go down with them to the bottom of the ocean, and that's how I learn from them, learn their song, learn their size, and learn all about their from their schools.
Wow. Oh, well, I mean, because I'm gonna land myself in hot water here, perhaps just
Yeah.
sort of salty seawater. I'm gonna stereotype whales. I always think they sound pretty miserable. Like whenever you hear a whale, it's always and they, I always think, cheer up, you're a big old whale. It's got to be all right, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the problem is, certain languages, when you hear them, they do sound, if you're not used to hearing them, they do sound either angry or sad or abrupt or just constantly happy. And I think that's just, if you don't know the language directly, then you will create your own stereotypes. And you've obviously got one about whales there, but
I'm sorry about that.
no, it's okay. I mean, they are known as the cows of the sea because of that sort of underlying moo sound.
Is that right? Is that? Can I check? Do they also? Can you get? Do you do whale milk, whale cheese? Is that or is that not?
No, we don't like
where
to.
the comparison comes. They don't, right?
Well, the thing is, we have tried it, but we just creating. We're getting that milk and not having it separate out into the salt water is quite an impossible farming technique that we would.
Very hard. Yes, that would make sense. And also, I imagine the milk itself would be very. It would taste of seawater. That'd be really. It wouldn't be very nice. Yeah.
Although I have heard good things about certain salty milks. I think yak's milk is meant to be quite salty. So
is it?
Rule it out.
Right. I'm sure I remember reading somewhere that yak's milk is pink, which also makes me think. But surely it shouldn't taste salty. It tastes of strawberry.
Yeah.
That's the rule. I'd have thought, isn't it?
That would be quite upsetting, isn't it? Like, have you ever had Kinotto, which is this Italian drink that looks exactly like Coca-Cola or Pepsi, or other types of cola are available, Fritz Cola, and yet if you try this Kinotto, it does not. It's just horribly bitter. Like
oh no,
yeah,
oh no.
Yeah, it's just it's just bitter, and I think it's that expectations when they are let down by reality. That's always one of the worst feelings in the world.
But it would be great if you knew someone who say drank too much a cola and you wanted them to stop, and you'd be like, here's a cola for you, try this. Yes. And then they drank it and were like, this is the worst thing ever tasted. And be like, oh no, you must be allergic to cola, you better never drink it again.
That's a good idea. Maybe I'm going to do that with if I've got any friends that I'm worried about them rotting their teeth, and I will present them with this Kinotto is that's the thing to drink.
Wow, I'm gonna look out for. I tried some kombucha the other day, because people say it's like really healthy for you, and it like I don't know what it does. It's meant to be good for your stomach, but it tastes like vinegar. And I can't. The only reason I can think it's good for your stomach is because it will make you sick everything out, so you've got nothing in your stomach, and then it'd be nice. Like I don't know why that would be nice. I don't know why people would like to drink that.
Yeah, I think whenever my mum burns a pan, she puts vinegar in the pan,
right,
to stop it congealing or whatever. So maybe that same process is happening to our stomachs whenever we.
Wow.
Have kombucha?
Just peeling everything off, and then you just have a really horrid poo. And well, it sounds
horrid poo.
Yeah, it sounds bad. Well, listen, I've gone off track here. What I wanted to ask you is, what are the concerns of whales right now? I don't really know. If it's nice to know they're not always sad, and I do apologise for my stereotyping of whales. If there are any whales listening, I want you to know that I didn't mean that. I mean, I did a bit because I didn't really know otherwise, but I didn't mean it. So, but what are they? What are the main concerns, or anything we should be knowing about?
Well, I mean, it's just it's difficult when people do have these stereotypes of them. Like a lot of people assume that whales are slow and ponderous, but actually they're moving extremely fast. It's just that you can't appear to move fast if you're that big. And it's like a bus moving very, very fast. A bus moving at 70 miles an hour still looks slower than a sports car moving at 70 miles an hour because it just looks slow and lumbering. So whales want to be renowned because whales see each other as sort of agile and lithe and swift little things, but because we see them as so large and lumbering.
I mean,
so that's their main concern. They just want to be known as swift and agile.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're making a good point. I think that, if a whale was to do 100 meters race, like it would cross the line, but we'd still be noticing its tail was at the start line. And we'd think, well, you're really slow, but it's not. It's really quick. It's just that it takes so long for the back end bit to get where the front end bit is.
Exactly. Like, I suppose in the Olympics, it would win because it would be just as fast. I mean, you'd have to have this. If it was in an Olympic swimming pool,
yeah,
I don't know what the rules would be. Would a whale be allowed to start in water or not?
It would be unfair because they'd blow the whistle and they go, "Oh, you've won." That would be the. I don't. Yeah, I think there'd be complaints. People get quite funny about Olympic rules, and I think there'd be complaints. But also, I would like to see it.
Yeah, I think if a whale could start in a different body of water before it crossed the start line, I think that would be a good race. A whale against Ian Thorpe or whoever nowadays is the Olympic. Michael Phelps or something.
Michael Phelps, yeah. Is it when you say different? So they'd have to be in a different, like in a separate tank or like a really big puddle, and then flop into the swimming pool from that.
Yes, I think so. And I think how in some trains there are sort of like separate barriers, and then it opens, and then you're allowed on the train.
Yes,
I think we could have this, but with a sort of fish tank or a whale tank.
That's great.
And that's what I think they're planning for Paris 2024, I think.
Oh, I hope so. I sometimes think, again, it's I think all those events are quite exciting. I do like them, but sometimes they need a bit of sprucing up and a bit of modernising. And I don't see why swimming events shouldn't have incredibly large sea mammals in them as well, just to keep them really interesting,
Because then it will become a real battle of aquatic excellence. You've got 8 competitors in the Olympic final. You could have a Michael Phelps, a whale, a dolphin, and a piranha who might be intimidating other competitors. Obviously, a shark. They move very fast, and then stuff like jellyfish. I think you'd have a proper actual race to decide who is the quickest aquatic mammal or animal.
Yes, yeah, I think it would be. I think it would be good. You'd have to. It would be tricky because like jellyfish are like lots of. It's always confused me that lots of creatures in one creature. So then would only one bit of the jellyfish have to move? So there'd have to be lots of careful rules as to what counts as one swimmer.
Yeah.
And like, would a sea urchin be able to do it, or would it just have to stay on the side? It's very, well, I mean, it's a lot to think about, and I think hopefully the Olympics Committee have thought this through. They do sort of tend to cover all this sort of ground.
I should hope so. I mean, I think jellyfish often make me feel a bit sick. So I don't know why I brought them up, to be honest.
Yeah. They're so horrible. They are horrible. And that's what because that's when that was the thing I learned about them, that they're not one just jellyfish. They're like lots of different organisms in one, but that makes it worse.
It makes it much worse, doesn't it?
Why are you hanging out to make that shape? Why wouldn't you make a nicer shape? Yeah, it's really horrible, yeah. Yeah. They're like sort of someone snotted in the sea and then it went for a swim, and it's just
that pink is like sort of the living version of yak's milk, to bring it back to.
Yeah. Have you ever been stung by a jellyfish?
I have many years ago. I think probably when I was about 7, and because they look sort of pretty. When you've been warned about them, it's the biggest fear, because obviously it was in Mallorca, so it wasn't where there were no sharks, but they were the equivalent of sharks. And suddenly the sort of sting sort of travels up your foot and leg, and you're imagining the jellyfish like wrapping itself around you and eating you slowly. I think those fears are all bound up with that.
That is horrible. And did you have to wee on it? Because that's how you fix a jellyfish sting, isn't it? You have to wee on it.
Yeah.
Which already shows you how awful jellyfish. Nothing should have a sting that you can only fix by weeing on it. That is horrible.
No, I feel like I can't remember it clearly enough, but I feel like my dad might have weed on my leg. Is that? Help,
Well, that's the heroic things that parents have to do for their kids.
he's not here to defend himself, but I think I'll ask him next time I see him.
But that's why jellyfish are even worse, because they make situations like that have to happen.
Exactly.
No one's dad should have to wee on their leg. I mean, well done your dad for doing it and saving you, but no one's dad should have to. That is horrible. That's jellyfish's fault. It's not your fault.
It's a bonding experience, I suppose. You can.
Yeah.
That's the silver lining. And bring it back to.
Wow. Well. I mean, we've jumped ahead. I was going to ask just how you are. Are you well in general? Are you good apart from all your pelican activity and your chef work and?
Yes, I am. I mean, it does. It takes it out of you. I have to say, the pelican riding and then having to hold my breath for that long under the Pacific Ocean.
Yes.
And the different languages, but yes, I am well. I mean, I feel like I'll have to get over to speaking about these jellyfish.
Of course, but I'm glad you talked it through, and I think that's the beginning, isn't it? That's that they always says it helps to talk through these things, and I think if you can openly on a podcast say I hate jellyfish, I think that will help other people to hate jellyfish as well. I suppose if nothing else, and we can form a campaign, and I don't really know what to do about it after that, but they're sort of everywhere. But
yeah, they are. I mean, I think maybe I'll have to just try to bring back, weeing on each other in solidarity, for pain, pain relief. Pain relief. We got an itchy foot. Then even if it's not a jellyfish, just wee on it. Suggest weeing on each other.
Well, there you go. And then hospitals could just be full of you go to see the doctor, they wee on your foot, and I'm sure it'll work out.
That's why they take so many urine samples.
Of course, yeah, that's very clever. Of course, so that you can. It's like sort of donating blood or something. If you donate your wee, and then they throw it on someone else when they have an injury. I'm sure that's how it works out. I'm sure if any doctors or nurses listen to this, let us know if you just throw wee at people. Probably do, I think.
Please do get in touch, doctors and nurses.
Very important to know. Well, listen, Tom, I'm so pleased that you had time to come on this podcast this week. And one of the reasons I've asked you, it's a pleasure to have you anyway, but one of the reasons I've asked you is we've got a question, and I think you're the best person to answer it. But before we get to that important question, I've got to do some admin. There's always some admin with this show, and the first bit of this admin is this is an audio podcast, and as I say to our listeners every week, most of them do listen to it with their ears, but they may listen with their bums or their knees. We don't discriminate, however they want to do it. But because it's an audio podcast, I just wondered if you had a favourite noise that you could tell us about, or preferably even make.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do. I was thinking about this in the last 5 seconds since you've asked me.
Right, it's a long time.
And I mean, what's come to mind immediately is just the various different farting noises, but I feel like they are quite possible to discriminate between. There's the parp, which is the puff fart, which is like a sort of there's the genuine fart, which is the and there are others. There was the toot, the.
Oh wow.
I feel like me and my friend went through all of the different fart noises, but I'm not gonna go for a fart noise. I think I'll go for my favorite noise is probably the sort of slowly opening door.
Oh.
You know, the
That was very good. That was very. I was assuming that a door was opening somewhere behind you. That is very good. It's a
was me.
fantastic noise, that, because it always, again, I don't discriminate against doors. I feel like I'm
No.
just really being awful about other sort of creatures and object sounds. But again, that door sounds like it's having a terrible time.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't like it to be in my house regularly, and I don't like a slamming door. It puts me on edge. That sort of feeling like you might be opening the door to a secret universe. A secret universe of differently categorized fart sounds. Which I realized how much I'd thought about this once I started. So I decided to quickly move away to the door.
The categorized farts is incredibly useful, because sometimes it's just very important to know what it is you're hearing, and perhaps what the appropriate action would be to take, depending on what you've heard. Is it change your trousers? Is it evacuate the space? There's a lot of safety precautions, but also I like that were a creaking door to open to a universe of farts, the slightly creepy, possibly even pain noise of a creaking door is then completely put at odds by, hilarious sounds of farts.
Yes, the hilarious world. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like in the house of fun, or the haunted house. That would be it is the most interesting room, isn't it? Where are you going to get a pop? Are you going to get a puff, a toot, a fart, or even a medley?
Farts? Are they farts of ghosts? Is it perhaps the ghost of a fart?
Yes, it's the ghosts of ghosts of various different deceased Tudor kings and Victorian merchants who've been eating all these feasts of pheasants and like sponge tarts and pigeon pies and marrow. What's that thing? That sort of thing made of semolina or
oh my goodness, I've no idea.
What is that one? I mean, it's some. I'm not sure if listeners are going to necessarily
like a gruel, like a gruel type thing. What is it?
Yes, gruel. Something like it will come. It will come to me. It will come to me. I'm going to have to. If I think of it after we've finished recording, I'm going to have to.
Please send it in. Or if during the rest of the podcast, if at any point, just shout it. Just stop whatever you're doing. Yes. Shout the word. I think it would be.
It's like it's like a pastry, but it's like.
Oh.
It's sort of like yellowy, sinewy, sort of crinkled, and it's like an old Victorian pie where it's like a parcel that stuff is like stuffed into. Oh, a suet
pudding. Right, yeah. Right, nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if the listeners can imagine, you might want to look up after this, like sort of this suet pudding that a sort of 53-year-old Victorian merchant who's bursting out of his shirt, and he's got those straps that come down to the braces and the breeches that they're bursting out of, and slowly these farts are escaping from their two very rounded, fulsome cheeks.
That is an incredible image, and I think because these are obviously in the days before kombucha as well, so they couldn't just pour vinegar in and poo it all out. So exactly. And ghosts are always wailing in pain, and I'd have thought if you eat that much stuff, it's gonna cause you some real issues.
Yeah. I think rather than ghosts who are wailing because they've died in a horrible, secretive way, let's just have these ghosts who have just they've passed away peacefully, but they're stuck eating the most
they've got indigestion.
Revolting food.
I like that. It also makes it a lot less spooky if you could just wander around with some Gaviscon or kombucha or whatever it is, and just sort of you open a creaking door into a scary room full of ghosts, and they go, "Oh, have a sip of this," and oh, thanks. And then they're all fine.
Exactly, and it has a logical conclusion as to why ghosts are formed of this sort of gaseous substance.
Of course.
They are become their own sort of memories of their farts, sort of thing.
Of course, I think that's beautiful, and I think you've solved probably one of the world's great. We haven't even got to the main question we need to solve, but I think you've already solved one of the most incredible mysteries of why are ghosts like that, and it's because they've sort of become their own. They've become their own farts, which is wow. That's big. That's pretty well. Thank you, Tom. I wasn't expecting that, and I have to say it was a fantastic creaking door noise. So thank you for that too.
Thank you.
Now listen. There's more. I feel that's big enough to. We should probably just end there and all go home. But I've got to ask you another admin question, which is that this is a family friendly show. It's suitable for people of all ages, any age you can imagine. Can you imagine an age?
19.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally suitable for 19. Absolutely suitable for all ages, not 100. Long story, won't go into it, but every other age. Totally
101?
fine. Yeah, absolutely fine. 100
Okay.
and 99. Also, it's a complicated, but you have to have rules. And because it's suitable for all ages, I just wondered if there are any rude words you won't be saying so we can make sure this podcast is safe for everyone.
I won't be saying nincompoop.
Oof. Wow, thank you. Please
Sorry
don't say
about that.
nincompoop. No, thank you. Well, thank you for not saying it.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Because
I won't say it again.
Don't say nincompoop. I won't say nincompoop.
No.
And if you don't say nincompoop, then we'll make sure no one says it. Because I think that's the sort of word that could get, not just this podcast shut down, probably the internet.
Yeah, I won't say nincompoop ever again. And if you catch me saying nincompoop one more time, and I'll be the nincompoop, if you know what I mean.
Well, yes. And because it doesn't even need saying. It's not only as nincompoop, so it's got the last bit of it is poop. So you're like double. It's awful, and I just thank you, Tom. I appreciate you not saying it.
I'll never say nincompoop again.
Thank you very much. It's appreciated. Well, now listen, Tom. The question I've got you here for, this is a big question, and it's been sent in by someone who says they are an axolotl named Daren.
An axolotl.
Yes, and that's what they say. An axolotl named Daren, and I don't want it. It could be that they're not that they're a human, and their first name is an axolotl, and their surname is named Daren. It could be
true that
they are an axolotl, but it's a very formal way of announcing themselves. Because I don't go around saying I'm a human called Tiernan, and you don't say I'm a human called I'm a horse called Dave. It's weird they wouldn't just put Daren, an axolotl. So I
know a few axolotls, so it's not that. And they do like podcasts. I've heard the axolotls.
Right.
Yeah. I fear that our audience might be mainly axolotls.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they've got more ears, so they can listen to more podcasts at once, and they can listen to distinctive things. It's like having lots of different headphones into lots of different things. They've got 11 ears, and they can listen to 11 different things simultaneously, taking them all in different parts of the brain or something.
That's fascinating, but also because the 11 is tricky because 10 that's 5 pairs of headphones, but then you've got the one.
Yeah,
is that just one AirPod, or how do you do?
I think they just wait till one set of headphones is slightly broken, and then they just keep all of those and use them in the 11th.
They're very clever. I also worry then because podcasts could mostly be axolotls, but also it could just be a couple of axolotls all listening to this a number of times.
True. That is, that is true.
Yeah. Well, look, if one of them's Daren,
I suppose. Yeah, true.
It's nice.
Well, it's good to have him. And I don't know, what else is Daren listening to? You wonder.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I do wonder. I hope it could be your whale music that you're helping compose. It could be. True. It could be. I hope it's not a sort of, because this is the Radio Nonsense podcast. I hope he's not listening to like the No Nonsense podcast, which is really serious and very boring.
Yes.
So I hope it's other things that complement this show.
I hope so. And well, if we'll give him a bit of whale song, I will come in with a bit of the whale song at some point. I won't warn you. I'll just start so that Aaron will have that to enjoy as well at some point.
I'm very excited, and I'll try and forget you said it So it
Yeah.
can be a beautiful surprise. Well, listen, Darren has asked, an axolotl named Darren, I'll give the full
Yeah.
title. And we'll go through this question, but how do you tell a blind man what colours are? And I should say, he's put blind man, hasn't said a blind woman or a blind a dog or a blind. He's gone very specifically for a blind man. And I don't know, again, if that's somebody who's visually impaired or somebody who sells blinds. I don't know if that's what they might be. Somebody who goes around and says, this would look lovely in your kitchen. I don't know. So I don't know how you wish to
Yeah.
interpret it, but that is what Darren has asked.
I suppose, you're right. There are multiple ways you could interpret this question, aren't there? I suppose I feel possibly more qualified to answer this than most, because I am a blind man.
Right.
I'm registered blind, so I'm
Right.
severely sight impaired is the legal definition. I have 5% vision, so they say. The doctors tell me, which means I can only see 5% of things that most people can see. And most people who are blind, who are registered blind, have some form of sight, some bit of blurry sight or very reduced sight in the middle or on the edges. So yes, as one of these people, I do feel more qualified. However, it also means that I know how difficult it is to answer that question. So let's just first of all just wonder whether the axolotl, apologies, apologies, Darren.
Because what you described there was a lot of axes, which is different to. I don't think Darren. I mean, maybe Darren is a lot of axes. Yeah, this is very tricky. Okay,
Well, to be honest, even though I know that axolotls are friends with the whales, I've never actually seen one. It might be because they've never been within, my 5% field of vision, or I've never seen a photo up close. So there could just be a lot of axes, like the jellyfish, just bound together as a series of axes, horrible axes.
Wow, that's mind blowing. I hadn't. Wow, that's quite something to think about, actually, and it might explain the 11 ear, because each axe would need its own ear.
Yes. Yeah, maybe they would be at these Tudor feasts and banquets, cutting up the. It all links back.
Wow. Absolutely, yes, it really does. Well, listen, I just have to, obviously, before you were about to say that, obviously, because you are more qualified, but you haven't sold anyone a blind before, have you? You don't.
No, I haven't.
No.
I mean, no. I do think it's important to consider whether Darren means blind merchants, like Venetian blinds, and it could just be that Darren does not like the blinds that he has seen in people's houses, whether they're Venetian blinds or standard sort of blinds from Argos or Marks and Spencer's. Yes, I'm not sure if you can find them there. As you can tell, I've not really got much experience of these, but if Darren's never liked the aesthetic, like maybe there's red and green blinds together, and I think, well, you've got to be able to tell these blind sellers what colours are, because these colours don't go together. Maybe that's Darren's complaint, and if so, we need to hear more. Like, what are the terrible colour combinations that this axolotl has experienced? It's the worst colour combination, do you think?
I think like beige and anything, but then possibly, I don't know, things that really horribly contrast, like probably like a green and a pink or something, is a bit too much. It's a bit,
And interestingly, I do think the most common.
Oh wow! That was beautiful. Just
thank you.
That was beautiful.
There's more where that came from. The most common color blindness, not full blindness, is red and green, isn't it? It's red and green. Should never be seen because I think of that color blindness.
Yes.
So And I do remember after I lost most of my sight due to a little, a genetic condition.
Right.
One of the first realizations I had was watching a football match where it was Liverpool playing, and because they play in all red, I couldn't tell where some of the Liverpool players were, whether they were the grass or whether they were.
Wow. And can I ask, did that in a way make it more exciting? Because then it would have been quite a surprise when a ball came from out of nowhere.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I was astounded that this other team, whoever it was, let's call them Leeds United, they were losing to this team of essentially ghosts, farting ghosts. So I think in terms of colour, in terms of how you describe colours to a blind man, so I think there are some people who can see a very small amount. And for those people, they generally can see certain colours. So if you get up close enough, if you see it on an image, or you can tell a colour. You can't tell all the colours necessarily, but you can tell some colours. So those people can tell colours. Some people, if they lose their sight, you can explain that to them a lot more easily, because I know, even though I'm now thinking that Liverpool are playing in green, moulding into the pitch, I know what the colours were. I'm using my memory. People who lose their sight are using their memory. But Daren, the axolotl, has actually picked up on a very interesting question, because I remember talking to someone who teaches blind children about visual concepts. And that is one of the problems that is very difficult. How can you teach the concept of purple when they've never seen purple, when they never will see purple? And really, it's kind of an impossible question, because at least with a river, it's quite hard to explain what a river is. You can at least go to a river, you can touch it, you can walk along the edge of it, you can feel the difference between the land and the water. Whereas actually purple, to go about describing purple is extremely difficult. So some people, some teachers or some artists have different sounds to represent colours. And there's no full system of this that I know of. There could be, and I'm just ignorant. I spend most of my time with pelicans and whales,
of course. You're very sound focused, I think, and I would love to know what sound, because you bring up, if someone said to me, describe purple, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know how I'd say it's purpley. That's not very helpful. It's not. You can't even sort of say like red. You sort of go, it's warm, it's hot, or blue. You can maybe say cold. Purple, it's just sort of there, and it's squiggly. Maybe, I don't know.
Squiggly though, that's interesting. Do you feel like? I feel like there's a certain sort of jazziness to purple, like a sort of and a sort of squiggly, and that's a bit squiggly as well.
Yes, I think that's it, isn't it? It sort of feels like, kind of a cool. It feels like people are quite relaxed and chilled, but but I don't know. It can be quite calming. It's very hard though. But I'd love to know: is there a noise that's just like, this is purple, or like you did a nice jazzy noise? It's tricky. And then other colors, I don't know. Pink, just it's quite bright. Yeah.
Bright and kind of cheeky and innocent. And I think there are certain art galleries, and I don't know if it's been systemized across the world, but certain art galleries use sounds to tell blind people what colors are there. And I know that there are certain programs and certain apps or whatever where that tells you what color something is by using a sound. And I'm not sure if it's universal or if there's any attempt to make it universal. It's kind of amazing, isn't it? The idea that someone might have a concept of purple I think we all have a concept of the sound of a color, potentially, like you said, the with pink and the with purple. And I suppose blue is meant to be a bit sort of solemn, a bit more waily,
Yeah.
and red a bit more like fiery and.
Well, can I put you to the test? I think and I think you've very succinctly. I think it's a very difficult question, and I think hopefully an Axolotl Named Daren is getting a lot from this. But can I ask? Could I very rapid fire name some colours, and you make a noise and tell me?
Yes, let's try it. Let's see. Let's see. Without me knowing the system.
Without you knowing the system at all, and we're probably going to offend many artists, but I think this is important. So green. Oh, that's lovely. That's very nice. As a maroon. Yes, that's definitely maroon. That's definitely grey. Yeah. Okay. I get like really bright orange. And okay, and one last one. I'm going to go for a very weird one. Puce. Yes, that is exactly what puce is. Well, I mean, Tom, that was fantastic, and I think not only very fascinating, but I think also very useful, and I hope obviously not useful if it is about people who sell blinds, because I think
sorry about that.
What are we meant to do? And I don't know. We don't know how if Daren has been wronged with some really terrible Venetian blinds. It's very possible, and in which case I feel that Daren hasn't given us the information to really answer that. But I think if they mean, I suppose the ending we didn't say is he said, "How do you tell a blind man?" Is there any different rules? We don't want to sort of get into any kind of gender specifics here, but are there any rules if it's not a man? Maybe if it's a child, even.
I think if it's a child, I think basically you can just say stuff quicker because children understand stuff more.
Yeah.
So you can just, and I would say, Daren, if it was about the person selling blinds, the man selling blinds, come to our restaurant and look at the blinds there because they're beautiful. Actually make sound when you touch them to tell people what color they are.
Yeah.
And you can have a great time foraging for your own food afterwards. Half a stick of chewing gum underneath someone's seat, and it's an unforgettable experience. And I should just check. Daren wasn't there last Wednesday, was he? No, but actually, I was going to say he's coming next Wednesday, but I only know what he did last Wednesday, so I forgot that aspect.
Well, listen, Tom, it's been such a delight having you on the show, and thank you for answering Daren's, I think, a very tricky question.
Yeah.
But I suppose axolotls have, they probably listen to a lot of podcasts. They've got a lot of questions about the world. So I very much appreciate that, and good luck with it. I mean, you're doing a lot. Good luck with the whales. Good luck with the restaurant.
Thank you.
Good luck with whatever you do next Wednesday, which obviously you have no idea about yet.
No, I never know. I never have any plans for next Wednesday, just in case something happens that I have to remember after it's happened for someone else.
Of course. Well, good. I hope that goes well.
That's thank you in Welsh.
It's so cold that it's burning my face.
Thanks so much to Tom for not only answering an axolotl named Daren's questions. Hang on a second, we had a clever fish reviewing the show this week too, but how many of you are animals or fish that actually listen to this show? I mean, you are, of course, all welcome. I just can't even work out how many of you would put headphones on. Anyway, thanks to Tom for answering Daren's questions, and I'm very excited about all the whale music that he's helping to put together too, and I can't wait to hear it. Daren, if you aren't happy with your answer, you're an axolotl, so, just sort of whisper about it in a pond or something so I don't have to hear it. If you have any questions you need answering on the show, especially Christmas ones, own made-up jokes you like read out, or anything else at all really, please get your squeaky Barbaras, grown-ups, to help you email us at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. Check out when our live shows are near you at comedyclubforkids.co.uk and grab enough t-shirts to hibernate in from comedyclubforkids.store. Oh, right, now, I've not actually managed to move to find out where all the walls and doors and windows have gone, because I'm wearing so many clothes. When I tried to get up, I just rolled over. And the problem is with no walls, I carried on rolling. And then because it's icy outside, I also sort of slid for a while. And anyway, long story, not as long. I didn't actually move, but then I sort of moved, and I only really stopped when I crashed into a wall. A wall, I have to say, I recognise all too well. That's right. This wall that I'm stuck next to, it used to be one of the walls at Comedy Club for Kids HQ. Oh, and there's one of our windows. And a door. Oh, I wish I could get up to find out what was going on, but I'm just wearing too many clothes. What I can do is shout, though. Hey! Hey! Who's taken all my walls and doors and windows? Show yourself!
Hello. Nice to see you again.
Again? Hang on, let me lift up these 15 hats that are covering my eyes after all the rolling.
Let me help.
Oh, thanks. I recognise you. I bumped into you at the local shop the other day and you said you just moved into the area.
Yes, that's right. And you were very lovely and welcomed me, and then said if I ever needed anything, then mi casa, su casa, my home is your home.
Oh, no.
And I did need quite a lot of things like walls and doors and windows, so I took you up on your offer.
I didn't mean it literally. I need my walls, doors and windows back, please. It's blooming freezing now.
Well, that's very rude.
You're rude.
Okay then, it's going to take me a little while to put it all back. And I suppose I'll have to get some walls, windows and doors from somewhere else.
Have you tried the walls, windows and doors shop?
Oh, that's a great suggestion. You are very helpful. Let me return these, and then I'll slide you back up the road.
Thank you. What a silly, silly day. I'll see you all next week, hopefully from a warm CC4KHQ with walls and windows and doors on it.
I'm finished.
Already? That was quick.
And now time to slide you back.
Wait! You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents. Radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. It's the end.